Hi, welcome to Tuesdays with Gary. My name is Gary Lanham. I'm the team leader of the Gary Lanham Group at Coldwell Banker Fort Lauderdale Beach office. And just like every Tuesday, we're talking about real estate. And we're talking about real estate in a different kind of time frame because we're dealing with real estate and COVID-19 and we're keeping it safe. So today I'm joined by a guest, William Meleski, who's an interior designer from Pompano Beach. William has been a friend of mine through my BNI group. We've known each other for about 6 or 7 years. And William, welcome to the program.
Hi, good afternoon, Gary. Thanks for bringing me here, and I think this is a fantastic service you've got going. I can't get over how professional it is. This is great.
Well, thanks for joining us. Looks like you're sitting in your house. So where are you right now?
Oh, that's it, Gary. I'm here. We're heavily renovating our new home, and I guess if there's anything I can take away from it, it's make it a family project because
Making a
that's
family
what
project, right?
there's a lot here. Yep, yep.
So you look good. Your brand new spot looks good. I'm sure you and your wife, lovely wife, and your kids have been dealing with a lot of togetherness. What have you been doing during COVID to kind of keep it light, keep it fun, William?
Well, keeping the kids involved, that's for sure. We started a family garden, so we've been tending the crops on an evening, every evening, and every day, new seeds, and that I think that's been an awesome experience for us, and to really enjoy the weather we're having down here.
So with gardening and kind of trying to learn how to raise plants and vegetables.
Yeah, I think our corn's about 3 feet tall, so we should have plenty to eat if everything goes well.
That sounds great. So, William, thanks for joining us today. Real estate is, in fact, an essential function in today's market, even during COVID. And I'm sure as an interior designer, you've been tasked with different customer requests as far as how do I deal with all this togetherness? How do I create some private space? How can I get away from my spouse at times? What kind of projects or questions are you getting from your customers that you can pass on to us today, William?
They're asking, how, should I and can I and what will happen? And I think there's a lot of commonality to it, but mostly comfy, cozy is always and practical. It seems to be the general theme.
So as a part of that, have you seen a lot of emphasis on like kitchen redesign or kitchen redesign so that each of the family members can actually be involved like perhaps as a sous chef, helping mom or dad prepare a meal?
Yeah, well, I can't say I've had that direct call, no, but I have seen a little bit more owner builder and projects that are involving people to be more involved throughout the process. That seems to be more constant. The owners are helping their property in their own ways, so it minimizes the interaction during this season that we have here.
So one of the things I hear from my customers, we try to reach out to our customers and we just simply ask them, how are you doing? How do you feel? How are you dealing with the isolation? How are you keeping your family involved? And I've got a couple of items here that people have got at the top of their list, and maybe we can kind of share some notes and some experience. One of the things my customers have really missed out on is going to the gym and trying to convert a space in their home to some type of physical activity. Another area which I alluded to is all this closeness has created the need for some privacy. How do we get away from our loved ones? How do we have our private time? How do we actually create a new space so that we don't drive each other crazy? But probably one of the things that coincides most with your garden space is a lot of our customers have said, I can't stand being inside all the time. I need to create some kind of structure, some type of back to nature approach, whether it be a patio, a screened in porch, or as you suggested, a garden. Can you talk about some of these issues, William?
You know, generally, I seem to be surrounded with a culture of clients right now that are looking for more tranquility and an easier lifestyle. They're building new routines and working habits in their homes that are safe and protecting their families. But if it's for appeal and for mindfulness, it's certainly to build serene areas, maybe a home garden or other tranquil space around the house that you can call yours. It could be a window seat or even a nice desk in the dining room, wherever you feel comfortable. That's important to be focused and organized as you continue this new culture we're in.
So I've been reading a lot or seeing a lot of posts on Facebook and reading about acceptance. It's like, how do we accept things despite the fact that we don't like them? How do we accept being alone in our homes more often than we're not? And how do we relate to the space? One of the things one of my customers has experienced has been homeschooling their children. So not only are the parents now working from home, but the kids are at home and they're using computers for homeschooling. Have you seen a lot of that amongst your kids' friends, and what's your experience with your family?
You know, we've been very lucky. Our son Benjamin now is 8, and this new arena, I think, is teaching a different type of independence. We're blending into our daily habits the idea that there's math and science throughout our day, and our habits here with him. So our experience has been pleasant, and I'm excited to be closer to him, to be involved in that learning process. The education in the schools is fantastic. His classroom is interacting on a daily basis. He still gets to meet with his friends. We're seeing that with Boy Scouts and all types of other things. We've enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think that's going to adapt into new habits in all of our homes.
So I have a buddy who has a gym, and his daughter goes to Calvary, and of course everything is online training now. And so he and his wife typically go out in the morning, and Hannah, the daughter, is at home. And Joe comments, he says, well, you know, Hannah, who's now 11 years old, has learned how to cook her own lunch. And they don't let her stay at home too long, but once lunchtime is over, they try to get home. But he's talked to me about the independence, just like you're suggesting, in daily tasks, looking at mathematics and everyday things that we do. He talks about doing math with regards to ingredients and how she prepares the lunch and shares that preparation and the process and the outcome, which they get to eat with the family.
Spending more time with our family is just so important, and we have this lucky season right now to really, for a cause for that focus, and there's just a new morning every day, different activities with the kids or with our family, in any way, and including with video. We've been lucky to connect with family out of state and all around, whether it's his fellow peers nearby or family and friends. We've been connecting through all of this new technology, just like you. This is fantastic.
So I know when we talked about going on the program, we kind of talked about what would it be like to do a home project now if you're a do-it-yourselfer. What things might the homeowners start themselves, and you kind of came up with an idea which I really liked, which was refreshing life in the way we do things and the way we look at our properties. I think you'd actually prepared some slides for us, didn't you?
Sure. If you're inclined, I thought it might be a useful aid, but I find that refreshing life was just an easy way. When you approached me with this idea, Gary, I hadn't even really given a lot of thought to the theme that I'm seeing in my professional life and how it relates. I've just been trying to stay focused with family and work. But this is a great idea, and I think it's an interesting conversation. I'm honored that you asked me about it.
Well, thank you. So as you start with your slides, maybe we can talk about how to plan those projects, enjoying the experience with your family, perhaps getting them more involved than we might normally. How would you suggest we go through this, William?
You know, I'm blessed for this beautiful couple. from the Midwest. I suppose they're here in town, and they're planning and enjoying their planning process for their project. And I think generally that could be the theme for safety and for wellness. It doesn't have to be something that you embark on immediately, but to be well thought of what the process will be, what it'll mean for the safety of your property and your home, and how to go about things. Planning is just a great place to be, and I'm seeing more and more clients do that. So there are all other safe things to do if you're knee deep in a project like I am here, and the need that there's a professional needed. Putting plastic walls or turning off your air conditioning while there are service people on the property, that's always a good idea. And putting antibacterial surfaces in. There are some awesome flooring lines from different manufacturers. One we're familiar with, and it even offers an antibacterial surface. So there are so many opportunities to plan a nice project and to bring your home to a more presence, so you're in all the time and you're safer, and that seems to be what people are driven with in the remodeling process now.
So when you talk about the antibacterial flooring, is that like a covering on the floor, or is that something that's like you take a Swiffer to it and it has like a built-in residue that kind of brings out the enhancement of the bacteria prevention?
Very much similar to what we see in hospitals. It's the product itself is antibacterial, and it keeps the safer space. It's quicker to clean, but the finishes are beautiful, and they're more for residential. Because they're so detailed and pleasant. So there are floorings that naturally putting into your building process, and especially here in South Florida, they're durable and water resistant. Those are always safe, sustainable products for a long time. And as with our young family, they're practical products.
And as we talk about the safety and being bacteria and perhaps virus resistant, what about air conditioning systems and using like ultraviolet lights to and perhaps even upgrading the filter that we're used to using with our air conditioners? Is this the time that homeowners should look into that type of process? And where would they look? Where should they look for this type of thing?
Well, you can always talk to your local pro. We're all here. We're all reachable, and I could say that now is probably the most proficient you'll find some of these products, and they're pros. They're ready. They're waiting to connect to offer you advice or to recommend the next thing to help clean your home. There's some excellent lighting products that are on the horizon, and things that we can do now, different bulbs that help. I'm not as familiar with that. I've been keeping that conversation afar, but generally the thing I am familiar with is HVAC work, and the opportunity for homeowners to connect with their local pro and either upgrade their filtration system by way of UV light or better paper filters. Those are all easy and quick things to do that don't involve a lot of work and make your home instantly safer.
It's funny, just learning about the UV lights, and Thurman Mintz is in my BNI group, and of course you probably remember Maxine Gomez,
Sure.
who's just Drytech, and they talk a lot about taking care of our environment now and adding the UV lights, or making sure we use a disinfectant that truly cleans so that we can stay protected. What kind of expenses does that involve? Do you have a handle on what that might cost a homeowner to put that UV light in to not only purify the air? I understand, by the way, that it's also helpful for kids that have asthma, so that the air is recirculated in a cleaner fashion.
It's surprisingly inexpensive to do anything with air quality to improve your home. You can get a standalone filter, and that helps at different scales. There are paper filters, just upgrading your paper filter every month or cleaning it every couple of weeks. And even the light systems that they talk about have significant impact on mold and different allergens. That's surprisingly inexpensive, and it's a quick maintenance for an installation. It's very, very fast. So I think as long as they're talking to their local pro, they're in their your viewers are in the right arena.
So William, tell me about the kinds of projects, in addition to this COVID lockdown, you've certainly got some customers that have got some big projects going on. Did you bring us some slides to take a look at what you've been doing?
We do. I'm happy to show that this next photo. This is a beautiful new construction home here in Pompano Beach. This quality builder is living here in town, and he's really a gentleman. He's built a fantastic house there. I sent it to you so you were aware that this is the type of flooring that you have that look in your home with an antibacterial floor that similar to this. This is not. This luxury home has that's an engineered hardwood floor, but
Wow.
the same would be that LVT, that luxury antibacterial flooring is a very realistic look. It's very similar to that. There are other opportunities to you asked me, or one of the things we were going to talk about was what types of quick details can be rejuvenated in your home if you really you've been under quarantine for a long time, and things that people are looking to do for DIY. Changing their decorative hardware is always fun to do. You could do that in your kitchen or your different closets, and that's a way to just refreshen where you are, the space that you're in, and it just finishes some details in your home. That's practical to do, and all things that can be done online through local dealers like Richie Lou right here in Pompano Beach. They have a fantastic website, and that product is really well shown. So different things like that.
So I'm sure that you would throw in there painting, and that could be a nice family affair. Where
That's
you have
what.
to repaint a room or repaint the cabinetry.
That's nice to do. That's a real next step for a DIYer. But painting is always a good product. That's what we're doing here. It's a project here, and it's one that helps you feel like there's been a huge impact to your space. You should paint, because that's always the thing that covers the most square footage usually, and it gives a real impact in your home. So painting's a good one, but the easier, smaller things would be decorative hardware, and certainly if you end up in something bigger like this, make sure that you have family living in the next lot, because you shouldn't be home for renovations like this. You can't really live, and I think you have to be mindful when you're thinking and planning about your project. Be mindful of how you'll impact your space when you're remodeling, and be sure that. Be sure it's something you're willing to weather, and how long that might take. But we've been blessed. We have family next door, so we wouldn't be taking on a project this large if we were planning to live here.
So I could see some of the details of your project. Maybe you could kind of tell us what you're doing in that space that's right behind your shoulder right now.
Well, in our home, we're painting, and we're in that stage now. We've put in new floors. That was exciting, and generally speaking, we're building our home here, and that's something that and I've been mindful to think, well, what wouldn't I have done during a pandemic, and I think. Anything can be done, and I think you just have to plan for it, and to be ready to weather the storm. So I have other clients that are planning their projects that are on standby, and I have other projects that are knee deep, and they have their COVID parameters for their safety in their home, and how they interact with service people, and how to plan those interactions. There's a lot being done virtually, and there's all of your pros in your neighborhood are on standby on their phones. So however to talk and communicate with the people that you have already been in your project, that's really what my owners are doing. Is they're more involved than they've ever been.
So tell us about your contractors. You know, we've learned in real estate, for example, that they are the mechanics of showing a house safely, right? So you mask up, you glove up, you take your disinfectant, you spray the bottom of your feet, you wipe down furniture, you have social distancing of 6 feet, at least 6 feet from your customer. You try not to have too many people in a space. What about your contractors? Are they adhering to those same types of standards? And do you feel comfortable in the contractors you're using?
I sure feel comfortable in the relationships that I have here, and I'm sure that most homeowners have their tried and true resources, and that's always important. That now is the time to connect with them on projects that you're thinking about, or projects that are ready to go. Um, it's easy to connect with people that are professionals and still have work done in your home or around your property for planning an exterior space, a garden, or it, beautifying your home to offer a serenity and a calmness that you can do now with your local pros. So I think it's important to keep them in mind.
So I'm kind of excited to hear about, I know you did a project at the Paramount. Did you bring a slide for that? I'm kind of curious to take a look at what that looked like.
Yep, that was the next one there. I think we did a nice spot. This is a great vendor I had mentioned to you. This is an antibacterial, but for a little glam here, we added the vellum ceiling on the entire living space, and it brought in a lot of natural light that building that in this overcast day, I should say, is a little bit dimmer. So the ceiling brings in a lot of light, but the Vellum Ceiling is a fantastic company, and that's a great way to have a huge impact on your space. If you didn't want to paint your whole room or get involved in a big remodeling project, Vellum Ceiling is a great product to help transform your space very quickly, and it gives a big look. So we had a lot of fun with it there.
That's an amazing look. How tall is that ceiling? It looks like it's gigantic.
Yeah, I think I think that ceiling's I forget if it's 9.5 or if it's a 10-foot ceiling. I think those are out there.
Can you tell us a little bit about that flooring too? Because it looks like there's a tile, but there's no ground. Is that correct?
That's another way to keep their space extra clean. And groutless floors or very little grout is a very big trend right now. And that floor has really extra large floor tile, and they're super durable. And that's a really safe thing. I think we'll see a lot more of in these new habits.
And I want to ask also with regards to fabrics, with regards to COVID-19 and the tendency for us to wash our hands a lot, to wash our surfaces. What about the fabrics that you're using on this furniture? Is that something that the homeowner could actually keep clean easily, or how do they deal with keeping that clean?
Washable fabric isn't really a new thing, but it is something I think we'll see more of here, so we can keep our space extra clean all the time. And that sofa did have washable fabric, so that's always that might be a new habit for us moving forward.
That's amazing. It's certainly a great look. And I noticed also there wasn't a lot of artwork there, so it looks like you're trying to maybe bring the inside or the outside in. When you look at the spaces outside, I imagine that would also work in a single family home where you're trying to address a garden and bring the garden to the inside of the house.
Yeah, bringing nature in is you can't lose with being closer to our earth. So if we can do it visually or in the environment in some way, it's always better.
Have you got a single family home you can show us also?
I think that next slide might be a project that we finished down in Fort Lauderdale, and we were really lucky to work with your friend Louis. He did an awesome landscape project out there, and I had a chance to talk to Louis last week, and he is very busy. There's a lot going on with curb appeal and creating gardens and homes, and I wanted to show you that slide today because I'm not sure you had seen that property, but
I've never seen it. No.
That project is it turned out just so good, and he really did a great finished with a great product. Backyard and front, it's just a garden home. And the best part was he was conscious to make sure that we could view so many different areas from the inside of the house, to really give it a resort feel and feel serene and private. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that moving forward with our new habits too.
That's one of the things I'm also hearing from my home sellers right now, as far as, I have X amount of money. How can I clean up my house and make it ready to sell? I tell them a paint job, the small details of hardware, perhaps in the kitchen, and certainly drive up appeal, curb appeal, landscaping, painting the door red or some tropical color, just to get the buyer's attention. We don't have as many buyers right now, but the buyers that we do have are really serious, and they're not interested anymore in seeing 20 or 30 homes. They want to see a home that fits their budget, that is priced correctly, has got curb appeal, and has sexiness on the inside where they can live and raise a family.
Yeah, I bet. I think that I'd be anxious to I'd be anxious to see how that continues, but how much more elaborate it's going to get. With these open houses and all of the virtual tours that I've been seeing, they're fantastic. And I think that if I was going to take my time to go see a space, I'd want to be sure that it had the right price. And Gary, you're so good at that. So I think people are going to be maybe seeing less and more virtually. Is that the idea? Is that where you're headed?
That's definitely the idea. And so basically, it's all about keeping people safe, making sure that the seller is safe, making sure that the agents are safe, making sure that the buyers are safe. So the first look at a house is really pretty virtual. And we try to limit any kind of excess activity in a house, and only letting people inside a home that really are financially have the wherewithal to buy the house, either by evidence of proof of funds or a bank approval. On some circumstances, maybe a pre-approval, but trying to limit the number of traffic through the house, so that everybody feels safe about it, and getting the transaction done very quickly. We've noticed that if you price it to the market in terms of what's selling in the neighborhood right now, that the houses simply don't last. We don't have enough inventory that's priced correctly, so that when something hits the market at the right price, we tell the sellers to be prepared to move, because we know it's going to sell, and we want them to start looking at their next place so that we can help them with the transition to their new home as well. So what about the exterior? Do you deal a lot with exterior homes, some properties, and do you have some additional slides for us?
We do. It's become yeah, there's a couple more there. This is the back of that Fort Lauderdale home that Lewis and I had worked on, but I think you're going to see have more sustainable products on the exterior. This is a composite deck and natural stone surfaces that are tried and true, that'll stand the test of time and reduce maintenance people on the property. Sustainable projects that don't need a lot of maintenance, I think are probably have trends that we'll see, and they're also ways to improve the safety in your home in this new arena. So I wanted to send you that picture.
That dock space is pretty special. Is that a type of wood that you're using, or?
That's a composite lumber. So it's
okay.
It's going to last long past what we would see out of a wood or a pressure treated deck, and it never really seems to age. So that dock will look that way for a great long time, and it's and that's a tried and true product. It isn't something any do-it-yourselfer can get right at the hardware store.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Another thing that I caught my attention, I know when you talk about Luis, we're talking about Luis Yensa Garden Designs, right? And
That's right.
I noticed on one of your homes that you actually use like stepping stones in the backyard. Do you have that photo available? Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah. That's a fantastic property. Again, a local builder here on the Maine Intercoastal, And Louis worked with Stephen Gianni for exterior lighting, and I brought to remind people, or to remind to me that to talk about Stephen and his role in the project with Louis there before, in the slide before. They did a great project, and I think you're going to see people adding to their exterior spaces with lighting and different destinations, because it's an extension of their home, and we are all clearly spending so much time here now. So
that is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing those slides. So one of the ways we've been trying to help our homeowners and home buyers right now is to remind them about what selling a house means to our economy. And some people wonder whether the economy has been driven off of a cliff. And I think it's too soon to tell, but we see a lot of real estate activity going on now. And we know that for every 2 houses that we sell, that we create another job. And that's important to us in the real estate business, because we know that there are a lot of people now that are out of work, or they're still working. The hours have been cut, or their salaries have been cut by 25%, 30%, or 50%. So one of the things that we're mindful of, and I know you've talked to me about this as well, is using local talent. In other words, getting away from the large I don't care manufacturers and focusing more on local talent or vendors who really kind of give a damn about our neighborhoods. Can you share what your experience has been, and maybe some vendors that you could recommend to my customers?
Sure, I've hinted around a few here in the slides, but of course I've sent you a list there. But I think that community and local business is so easy here in town, to keep thinking about impactful ways to still celebrate your home and your community. So there's a few vendors here I've mentioned throughout the slides, and there are some listed here, ways to automate your home and have little and less involvement with other service people. Home automation is a fantastic thing, and all of these vendors are people here in town that most often do not work retail, so they work pros for pros, and those are vendors that are ready to go. I've had the opportunity to even speak to Christos at Caligaris Furniture, and he reminded me, it was so simple and I didn't make the connection, but the stressless chair that he sells, that's an amazing line, and it's a truly therapeutic chair for our older population. And if you're spending a lot of time at home and you are needing that type of rest, the stressless chairs are amazing chairs. We've used them before in our products. So he's willing to open his showroom for private showings and to offer other professionals and other retail neighbors to help to beautify their home during the process. And while they're here seeing less, and most of the showrooms are closed, Caligaris he's willing to make those hours whenever he needs to. He's still operational.
So support local vendors, support people who have been in business and know what they're doing and can make the connections for our customers. Is kind of my takeaway from this. William, boy, it's sure been fun being here with you today. Can you share how my customers and any of the viewers can get a hold of you and contact you for any advice or consultation?
Well, I'd be honored with the idea, but my cell phone number is listed there. I think you could call anytime, or the office. You can reach me. I'm pretty easy to connect with. I think I'd be honored. Anytime I can help you, Gary, I'm honored for you to have me here, and to be able to speak about pros that I've worked with, and how to connect with local businesses here. And we're all still here, and I think be mindful of that. And there are ways to connect with pros that are willing to work throughout COVID, and exterior spaces is the easy way to do that. So thanks.
William, thank you so much. And of course, it's William Meleski, and he is with Greight Spaces Design, which is on Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach, Florida. So William, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Enjoy your projects. Enjoy your family. Please give Tara my regards. And I can't wait to see you and your family. Join us next week on Tuesdays with Gary. We'll have another show we'll be talking about COVID, home buying, and home inspections. William, until then, I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Gary. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.